Hi, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Moldavite is my all-time favorite gemstone. I've made so many videos about it in the past that I was almost hesitant as to whether or not I should make another video about Moldavite, but I've been reconnecting with its power over the last month and felt absolutely compelled to share some further insights that kind of go beyond what I've said about it before. So if you're absolutely new to the Moldavite journey and you are eager to hear about people's experiences with this transformational stone, or you're just ready to learn all there is to know about it, which for the record, like full disclaimer, you'll never know everything there is to know about Moldavite because it's the catalyst for transformation. And just as it constantly creates new changes for us, I feel Moldavite is reinventing itself continuously. And so, kind of like when you reach the deepest depths of the ocean, there's still landmass beneath the surface of the water that you can dig into and explore. Or if you look out to space and you see the vastness of infinity between the stars, you can always keep going and keep going and keep going. So I feel like when it comes to should I make another video about Moldavite or not, the answer I'm hearing from existence is kind of like a duh. Like, bitch, you didn't say everything there's to say about Moldavite. There's always going to be more. And so there's my little intro. Why did I feel like making a video about Moldavite at this point in time? So we are still in the early parts of the year 2023. If you're watching this video at a time when it's new, although I do consider this information to be timeless, so whenever you're tuning in, welcome. It's the right time. But whenever we start a new calendar year, there's a big discussion going on around what are your resolutions for the new year? What goals did you set for yourself? Which changes are you going to make that you weren't doing before? What new habits are you picking up? What's your goal for the year? And when it comes to a time of new beginnings, when we're setting goals for ourselves and striving for reaching perfection in whatever it is that we pursue, a lot of the time that is coupled with letting go of what needs to be let go. And as the Starborn Stone of Transformation, so this was my card that I drew for the day for my daily TikTok card of the day readings. When it comes to the Starborn Stone of Transformation, a lot of people get scared of Moldavite because it really does what it promises to do, which is rid us of anything that's no longer serving us. So for example, a lot of people will say, beware of Moldavite, or don't invoke the power of Moldavite. Don't start wearing Moldavite unless you're ready for it because it might bring a drastic ending to your relationship. You might get fired from your job. You might get evicted from your place of residence. Like, basically, people are afraid of Moldavite if they think it's nothing but an energetic shit disturber. Like, it's just going to wreak havoc on your life and it's going to take things away from you. However, Moldavite is the Ma Kali of the gemstone and mineral kingdom. Kali is my Ishta Devata. She is the goddess to whom I feel the deepest connection and who I feel the strongest personal resonance. And very similarly to Moldavite, a lot of people are afraid of Kali because she is seen as the destroyer of evil. She is the goddess who went on a rampage across planet Earth at a time when demons were running amok, and she took out all of them. Now, when we form attachments to our demons, and I'm speaking metaphorically here, so don't get scared, but when we form attachments and we feel connected to and even addicted to our demons, Somebody like Ma Kali, a beautiful divine goddess who just wants what's best for us, coming to destroy those demons, might feel to us, to our human egos, like we are having something taken away. And so I'm sorry if I'm speaking too far ahead of myself here. Let me make this make more sense and give you some analogies. How does Moldavite take something away from you, but for your better good, for your higher good? For example, if you're involved in an abusive relationship and the partner you're with makes you feel bad about yourself and causes you to spiral into bouts of self-criticism or blame, where you feel like how they see you defines who you are, and if they tell you something hurtful, you internalize that hurtful label and think of yourself as less than the divine embodiment you are. If you start carrying Moldavite, which is a talisman for positive change, for changing the things in our lives that will lead us into a higher vibration or a higher frequency, Moldavite might just cause a breakup in that relationship. It's not because you are not meant to be happy and you're not meant to have romance and you're not meant to be in a sacred union or a partnership. It's because that individual at this point of time in your life is not serving your highest good. Your frequency will actually raise if you are happily by yourself, more so than if you are codependently attached to somebody else, especially somebody who's hurtful or limiting to you. If you're working somewhere and your job makes you feel like you are not able to express the fullness of who you are, and you feel like it's a compromise of your ethics, or it's a compromise of your standards, or it's a limitation that's capping your creativity, wearing Moldavite might just cause your employer to see that you are not the ideal fit for that position. On the human level, we feel like I started wearing Moldavite and I got dumped or I got fired. But on the cosmic level, existence will see this divine individual was walking on a path tied to somebody who was draining their energy, and now we have freed them from that encumbering presence. Or this individual was working in a place that was sucking up their time and their energy. They weren't able to be their true selves, and so we have freed them from that time constraint. While we're here in human life, all the things of the material world seem like all there is. We feel like our financial status, our reputation, our popularity or notoriety, the relationships, the friendships, the family connections, where we live, how clean our rooms might happen to be, how fit or how fat we might perceive ourselves to be. We think of our physicality as the sum total of our existential essence. And as a result of that, we neglect our spiritual higher goals. Why did we take these bodies on planet Earth right now? Why are we alive? Why are we here? Why are we exploring this realm? Why are we drawn to certain people and repelled by other people? Why do we have the goals that we have? Why do we want to learn the things we want to learn? When we ask ourselves those higher frequency questions, those more spiritually motivated questions, oftentimes we don't need Moldavite to catalyze transformation, because our self-awareness will be so high that we recognize in ourselves the things we need to change in order to get on our divine path and to be who we're meant to be and to do what we're meant to do. But when we get blinded by the lure of physical materiality, when we feel like it doesn't matter why I'm here, why I want what I want, why I'm drawn to the people who attract me, when we're living kind of on autopilot, just going through the motions of life, pushed and pulled by the whims and fancies of the collective, maybe motivated by commercials, inspired by groupthink, convinced that what society tells us we should strive for should be our ultimate goal, If at that time we bring Moldavite into our lives, or we pray to Kali for enlightenment, we can expect some destruction. But it's never going to be destruction that hurts who we are. It will always be the destruction of illusions. What are demons ultimately, as per Vedic tradition? What is an asura? Demons are nothing but shadows. They are darkness. And what happens to the darkness when we shine a light? It disappears. It never had a solid identity or a solid reality in the first place. Illuminating the darkness or shedding light on our shadows is never taking something away from us. It's only adding something to us, adding higher consciousness, adding the capacity to choose a new path that will be more aligned to who we are. And so if Moldavite is something new to you and you start wearing a Moldavite talisman and you're connecting to the sacred energy of this beautiful starborn stone, and suddenly you find a relationship that you were in comes to an ending, that is not you losing something. That's you gaining the opportunity to enter into a more beautiful union, a more divine partnership, a more sacred connection. If you lose your job, and this is my personal story, by the way, when I first started wearing Moldavite back in 2008, and it was still a new talisman for me, and I'd kept it around my apartment before, but I finally got the courage to start wearing it as jewelry. The moment I started wearing it, I lost my job. But you know what? I hated that job. It was not something positive for my life. I worked at a store that sold leather, and I'm a long-term vegan. I'm an animal rights activist. I boycott leather. So imagine me working somewhere where I actively avoided selling the products because I didn't want to be a part of a system that killed cows and exploited animals. And so I started wearing Moldavite jewelry, and I started to feel more and more like I'm in the wrong place. I'm doing the wrong thing. And you know how existence responded? Boom, I got fired. But later that same day, I was offered a job at a store called Dragon Space in Vancouver that was exactly aligned to my creative ambitions, to my spiritual tendencies. It's a store that sold crystals and tarot cards and incense and books about astrology. It was a natural fit. Now, I'm not saying that for everybody it's going to be that quick, that you lose something and it gets replaced by something better instantly. But when we put consciousness into the cycles, into that dance of destruction and new creation in our lives, we experience more and more synchronicities. And as much as Moldavite is a stone of transformation, it's also a stone of a heightened recognition of the synchronicities that let us know we're transforming in the right way. And by the right way, I mean the way that's going to make us feel fulfilled at the end of our lives, fulfilled at the end of the day, fulfilled at the end of whatever task at hand we're currently involved in. So if you're doing something that is unconscious, that is destructive towards yourself, that's taking away from your feeling of higher purpose, at the end of whatever task you're doing that feels like it's counterproductive to your higher goals, you're not going to feel a sense of great, excited accomplishment. You're going to feel like filling that void with something else. And this is what I meant when I said the demons we feel attached to, the shadows we start to identify with. When somebody has an addiction, whether this is an addiction to a drug or alcohol, an addiction to food and overeating, or an addiction to starvation and anorexia and trying to perfect the physical form through deprivation. Somebody might be addicted to watching television 24/7 or buying things like shopaholic nature. When we have an addictive personality and we're addicted to something, that literally is feeling like we are attached to a demon. Those things suck the energy from us. They suck the life force from us. If we feel like I can't just eat one potato chip, I need to eat 10 bags, or I can't have one cookie, I need to eat the whole box of Oreos, or I can't watch one episode of a show on Netflix, I need to binge the entire series all at once. How do we feel when we finish binge watching 10 episodes of something and in the meantime we've done nothing towards our goals? How do we feel when we polish off an entire box of Oreos if we're food addicts? How do you feel if you are stalking your ex and you can't stop looking at what they've been up to while you've been feeling neglected or cut out of their lives? How do you feel when you finish doing something that is quote unquote negative, that is not adding value to your life? You feel bad, right? You feel regretful. You think, why did I just do this thing that I decided I didn't want to do anymore? Or why did I just do this thing that I know is not actually going to lead to the realization of my higher goals? Even when we enjoy on a surface level the thing that we're doing because we're addicted to that thing, when we finish doing it, it leaves a void that we try to fill with more and more unconscious behavior. That's the nature of addiction. I personally feel that Moldavite is the ultimate gem for breaking addictions, whether they're big ones or little ones. No matter what it is, when something in our behavior or in our life is not leading to the fulfillment of our higher goals, Moldavite will cause a rift between us and that negative behavior. If it means taking away the person we have an unhealthy attachment to, it'll do that. If it means taking away the desire to spend hours binge watching a TV show that's not actually going to lead us to a sense of accomplishment, it will do that. But it will also give us the capacity to introspect and ask the question of, why? Why did Moldavite cause this change in my life? Why did it end this relationship? Why did I lose that job? Why do I no longer feel enjoyment when I eat that food? Or why do I no longer enjoy watching that television show? If we see the destruction of the demons within our lives, we will also see the birth of the angels in our lives. And again, I'm using this term metaphorically. I'm not saying literally you'll see a little demon die and a little angel get born. But what are the angels in our lives? If we look at the symbology in tarot cards, the devil card shows two people chained to each other and chained to the base on which the devil is standing. And it represents being completely trapped and held by the 3D physical reality. The card directly next to the devil is the card called Temperance. And the imagery in that card is the image of an angel pouring liquid from one cup into the other. Literally, energies flowing into cups, which in the tarot lexicon represent fulfillment and emotion and reciprocity. The devil is the energy of being held by something, trapped by something, enslaved by something, while the angel of temperance represents being in the flow, not being chained to material reality, but interacting with it of our own free will decision, enjoying it for what it is, but not being held to it. Water flowing from one cup to another is never clinging to the edge of a vessel, trying not to move, resisting the transformation or resisting the fluidity of the motion. Water being poured from one vessel to another is just going with it. And so when it comes to Moldavite, see yourself as water. See yourself as that liquid in the temperance card being poured from one vessel to another, not feeling like, hey, why is that cup being taken away from me? But wow, cool, this other cup is being given to me. Every ending is a new beginning. Everything that's taken away is being taken away to create the space for us to create something even better. Moldavite is not here to catalyze destruction and to force us to experience life in a way that we didn't choose. It's here to show us our higher divine will so that our physical expressions, our physical identities can more deeply align to that higher goal, that higher ideal. And here's where it gets really mystical and really exciting for me. When Moldavite has ended things in my own life and caused change in a way that I didn't know I was ready for. Don't get me wrong, I hated the job I got fired from when I started wearing Moldavite. It sucked. It was not my ideal, but I thought I needed it to pay my rent. I thought I needed it to pay off my student loans. I was attached to it, even though it was not good for me. And so when I got fired, it's not like I was thinking, wow, thank you, Moldavite. Like, you just freed me from this horrible trap of a job I hate. No, I was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay off my student loans? How am I going to survive? Where will I buy my groceries? It takes things away from us, not because our physical human identity selves say, I'm ready to surrender this, but even though our physical human identities think we need those things. Because Moldavite doesn't serve our human egos, it serves our higher spirits. And when we start to see the things that are not good for us in our human forms dropping away, if we try to cling to them, if we try to be attached to them, we miss the call of spirit. And we probably will think, Moldavite's not for me, it's too strong, it's too intense, it's too destructive. We might fear the goddess Kali and decide, no way, she looks too ferocious, she looks like she's going to yell at me. But here's the thing. If ever Ma Kali yells at you, she's not yelling at you, she loves you. She's yelling to save you from whatever thing is trapping you. Imagine a little kid is walking down the street and a stranger, like think stranger danger, a stranger pulls over and hands that kid a piece of candy and the kid's about to eat it and the mom is there. That mom might yell, hey, drop that. But she's not yelling at the kid out of anger towards the child. She is responding to the danger that child could potentially experience if they eat something that could be laced with poison from a stranger. When Kali yells at the demons in our lives, she's not yelling at us. If she yells at you, hey, stop doing what you're doing, it's not good for you, she's not saying you're bad. She's saying you are wonderful, you are divine, you are a child of the cosmic father and the cosmic mother here in a human experience to awaken to your higher divinity despite the illusion of being limited. Drop that limitation. You are not limited. Drop the limitation. She's not yelling at you, hey, you're limited, you're stupid, you suck. Drop that thing because I don't want you to have it. It's more like drop that thing because you could have so much more. If you're not holding on to a handful of pennies, you could take a check for $1 million. But if somebody's trying to hand you a check for $1 million and you're holding on to a fistful of pennies, you're not going to get the greater gift. Moldavite might take away our mess, but only so that we can get cleanliness. It might take away our attachments, but only so that we can get liberation. Don't be afraid of Moldavite. It's here to catalyze positive change. So I do have just 4 pieces of Moldavite in my Etsy shop right now. It has become harder and harder to source the genuine stuff, and I am completely committed to having the most ethical crystal shop I can possibly have on Etsy. So you can be promised, assured, and guaranteed if you buy something from me, it's the real deal. And so I'm down to the end of my Moldavite stock, but if you want some of it and you want to be guaranteed it's real, check out the link in my video description. The piece I've been holding up as my example throughout the video features a big chunk of Moldavite along with a Herkimer diamond twin crystal. I'm trying to hold it in a way that you can really see it. I'll hold it like this, maybe with the background. But that Herkimer diamond, it's actually 2 crystals in one. And these are seen as crystals for attracting divine romance, divine love. If you're someone who believes in the twin flame journey and you feel that there's somebody incarnate who's your exact ideal match, wearing a piece of twin crystal is said to magnetize you so that you attract your perfect partner. If you don't resonate with that belief, and that's fine, not everyone has to believe the same stuff, it will make you ready to experience true love and true partnership, whether that be a deeper connection with your friends so that you can understand each other and communicate more beautifully, a deeper connection with your pets so that you can communicate with animals and understand their emotions even though they express differently than we do. Connect with your spirit guides, your guardians, your Ishtadevata, the universe as a whole. Twin crystals help us form deeper, more sacred relationships. So the first Moldavite talisman I want to show you, it's my personal favorite just because it has such a sacred, sweet, loving vibe to it. It's Moldavite with a twin Herkimer. And the next one is Moldavite with Herkimer diamond and black tektite. Now, there's another YouTuber, and I don't want to throw shade on anybody because he's beautiful, his videos are amazing, his energy is just so sweet and so exciting, but I have heard him throw shade on Etsy sellers and talk about how Moldavite on Etsy isn't genuine or isn't guaranteed to be real. And I want to just explain here, there definitely are sellers on Etsy selling fake Moldavite and scamming people. But please don't listen to people who say that all Etsy sellers are bad, because there are good Etsy sellers and bad Etsy sellers. There are honest ones and there are scammers. And so don't be afraid to purchase from Etsy shops that do their due diligence to source genuine stones and who really put love and energy and positive vibes into the pieces that we make, just because there are other people using that same platform who are less ethical. So yeah, I personally felt quite insulted when I heard a bigger YouTuber with more followers who is very, very loving and very light-filled say to his followers, don't buy Moldavite on Etsy, because it's like, wait, there's enough divinity to go around. Like, why try to take away from somebody who is also an entrepreneur who has the same spiritual goals as you do? So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. The reason I mention it when I'm talking about this piece in particular is that he makes a lot of pieces using Moldavite, Herkimer diamond, and black tektite. And I just want to say, the first time I made a piece of jewelry using this particular trifecta was in 2014, long before I had ever seen or heard of that man. And so when it comes to spiritual channeling, bringing divine wisdom down from the etheric realm into the human realm, you will sometimes see different people in different parts of the world, independently of each other, without any kind of physical level communication with each other, get the same exact ideas. You'll see artists who paint paintings that have eerily similar subject matter and color choices and movement, and one artist might say, hey, that other artist just ripped off my idea. But it's not necessarily the case. It could be that both of those artists were tuned in to the same stream of cosmic consciousness. And when it comes to making energy tools, making divine jewelry, I personally connect with my star family, the Arcturians, and I ask my Arcturians to help me put the right combinations of gems together in order to create the best possible vibrations and the most accelerated energy in whoever buys this piece that I'm making. So I started putting Moldavite with black tektite and Herkimer diamond. First of all, Moldavite and Herkimer, giving credit where credit is due, I got the idea for that combination from Robert Simmons, the author of Moldavite Starborn Stone of Transformation and co-author with Naisha Asian of the Book of Stones, and he described Herkimer diamond as having the greatest resonant connection with Moldavite. The two have such a cool symbiotic relationship. Moldavite adds to the transformational power of Herkimer diamond. Herkimer diamond amplifies the energy of Moldavite. Wearing the two together is like a power couple of gemology. And then I decided to add black tektite to the combination because Moldavite is a tektite, black tektite is a tektite, whereas Moldavite is extremely intense and very, very rapid in the transformation it catalyzes. Black tektite is more protective, more grounded, and takes a slower pace. It eases us into the transformations. So instead of slapping the poison candy out of our hands, it gently coaxes us to drop the poison candy. So it's a little bit less intimidating for somebody who might be new to the journey of Moldavite. And so wearing the two together helps us get into a flow of transformation that's more comfortable, that's not as intense, that doesn't so much feel like our demons are being destroyed as we are choosing to outgrow them. And so this combination, I usually call it the triple talisman or the highest frequency triple talisman. It makes the best first piece of Moldavite jewelry for somebody, especially if you're a little bit unsure about whether or not you're ready for rapid change. The other two pieces I've made are these cool little vials. This one that has high frequency stones in the form of a tiny piece of Moldavite at the very tip, along with little Herkimer diamonds, some chrome diopside, which is a very intense heart chakra gem, some amethyst for the crown chakra, and some blue kyanite for the third eye. That vial of high frequency stones is meant to catalyze transformation and also awaken psychic ability. So the ability to intuitively understand why things are happening in our lives, to be able to see beyond the veil of illusion that makes us think things are happening to us, and see into the realm of creation where we understand on a higher level we are creating everything that happens in our lives. We are not only the protagonist of the movie of our lives, we are also the writer who is penning down the script. You are not subject to something else's whims and fancies. You are writing your own story. I feel like when we awaken our third eyes, we get the glimpse into the creative process of those stories. We start to see how that script is being developed. It's very cool. Synchronicities will become obvious to us. We won't have to look for signs. The signs will like jump into your face. The other vial I've made is Tanzanite with a little bit of Herkimer diamond and a little tiny Moldavite. Really intense third eye awakening energy. Tanzanite also links the third eye with the crown, so it helps us receive divine channeled wisdom and then put it into a human understanding. So the crown is like our connecting point to cosmic infinity. Sometimes if we have an understanding or an idea get channeled down to us through our crown chakra, it comes in such an ephemeral way that we feel it in the moment, but afterwards we don't know how we could describe it or internalize it or apply it to our lives. But when the third eye is also actively involved in the channeling of that wisdom, it's perceivable in a way that's more visual or verbal, depending on whether or not you are visual or verbal. So for a visual person, you might see energies, you might see divine patternings. It might be like an Alex Gray painting come to life where the streams of sacred geometry fall into place and you can see them. If you're more of a verbal person, you might go into a stream of consciousness where you can start writing or speaking and you don't know where the words are coming from. But if you play it back or read it back later, it will make sense to you because it is in the language we speak in our lives on planet Earth. There's also clairaudience. You might hear a message, and claircognizance, where you'll just know something without knowing how you know it, and clairsentience, where you'll feel something, and feel an embrace, feel the warmth, feel the love of the universe. I made a video years and years ago about these 4 psychic gifts: clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, and claircognizance. I am planning to remake that video, so stay tuned for that. And also, here's where I'll end the video. Last thing is, I am developing a course for my Patreons exclusive to those who sign up for my highest level tier, which is $11111, $111.11 a month. I'm calling that Enter the Portal. And this tier is going to start with a complete lesson on the tarot. So how to read tarot cards, how to not only memorize the textbook definition of each card, but also develop a personal relationship with each and every card in the tarot deck, make them your own. I feel like the best tarot readers don't just lay the cards down and then consult with the accompanying book to see what each card means. The best readers have learned the meanings of the cards. It's kind of like if you learn the rules, you can also break them effectively. First, learn what each card means, and then deepen that to see what the symbology in those cards means personally to you, connecting them to stories from your own life, to meaningful things that you've heard in myth and legend throughout your life, to personal symbols and personal understandings, when you're not just going by somebody else's definition, but you're redefining it for yourself. And so this course is to, first and foremost, learn the baseline definitions for each card, then also to expand your own intuitive connection to each card to come up with your own meanings, and then understand how each card interrelates with each other cards so that you'll never be stumped if cards come up together in a combination where they seem contradictory or it doesn't make sense, how to make sense of what doesn't make sense. It's going to include tuning into your own intuition, discerning your psychic gifts. So do you know whether you are more prone towards clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, or claircognizance? Understanding that can really help us when we are deciding to open to channel and to connect with higher guidance and to bring spiritual messages into the physical plane. Anyway, I'm going to do a whole other video describing that course for those who are interested in signing up so that you can know exactly what to expect in month 1, month 2, month 3, and so on. But I thought I'd put it out there right now, so if you'd like to, you can sign up for it through my Patreon, which is also linked in the video description. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I really hope you are inspired to connect with Kali Ma, the beautiful goddess who is here to help us live our best lives by breaking us free from the forces on earth that want to keep us bound to limitation, bound to physicality, and to connect with the beautiful Moldavite, which can awaken in us the capacity to transform ourselves for the better, for our highest good. I feel like I'm surrendered continuously to Kali and to the power of Moldavite, which it's not just a stone. It's not like you're worshiping a crystal. It's that you're using that crystal as a communication device with the higher forces that have created it as a tool for us to use to explore higher consciousness. Anyway, I could go on and on for hours about that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to end it here so you can get on with your divine explorations. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And if you have any questions or comments about anything I've said, please let me know in a comment below. I love your comments. It also helps my channel grow, and it gives me ideas for future videos. I look forward to chatting with you there. Bye for now.